Princess Hime is a powerful princess across the nations, who defeats demons and protects her nation no matter the cost. Or I should say, that's what she was supposed to do. After a battle with the demons, she was kidnapped and held prisoner to be tortured for information. However, it isn't exactly your regular torture. She is tortured by foods, entertainment, and sometimes emotional damage.
Emotional damage!
It becomes to a point you start to realize, is the princess really loyal to her kingdom? Or is she just extremely slow in the head? If you remember Princess Syalis, you may as well call this princess her sister, because at this point, you don't know if they are with the humans or the demons. This anime is going to be the most relatable person if you're as clueless as these two. What happens when a princess known to defeat huge monsters in a spontaneous encounter with a single blow gets abducted? Indeed, faith, resilience, patience, loyalty, and endurance are expected. Our princess, along with her sacred blade, X, whose perspective the story is in and who can talk, are kept as captives to get her to spit out grave secrets about the royal empire. They are visited by Tortura, the Hellhorde Grand Inquisitor. Yeah, her name pretty much gives away why she is currently in front of the princess, but the stuff to happen ahead is going to be a real deal for the princess. Tortura announces that the princess will be subjected to extreme torture till she decides to spill out secrets. This worries X, who calls out how torturing is against the prisoner laws, but poor Sword lacks the common sense to know that demons don't follow human laws. Princess tells him to not worry as she is more than ready to have her loyalty tested. Ready to endure flames and burns, the princess looks forward to what will be inside the box that they brought. But what she never saw coming is a test that crosses all violations and extremes. Inside the box shines a buttery toast. X laughs boastfully at Tortura's great idea, mocking her that the princess is not a child to be enticed by a loaf of bread. But are you sure, Mr. Blade? The metalhead doesn't notice that the person he has been loyal to is indeed a child currently drooling over the side of the toast.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Princess starts ranting over how any human being would feel tempted for a while, but she isn't going to ever give in to it and sell her empire over a toast. Tortura listens to her silently and then calmly uses a hand fan to push the aroma toward the princess. The princess finds herself in a field of freshly and perfectly baked toast. Back from the fantasy, she starts to violently rant again when Tortura shushes her and carefully and slowly rips the bread into two. The crispy sound seems to be a meal for the princess's ears as she has already reached toast heavens. It looks like the princess has been through a physical fight and is brutally injured with the way she is fighting for her life to not give in to a toast temptation. Tortura seems to be well versed in this, as per her name, since she brings out an empty bowl of eaten stew and eats a piece of toast with the leftover sauce on the bowl. Princess runs to grab the bite as if she is running to save someone from getting slaughtered but fails to reach on time. The next moment, we find the princess bowed down with her crown on the ground ready to open up. After revealing the Imperial Army's weak point, she begs Tortura to give her a toast, but she denies giving the princess a loaf of bread. A brutal torturer. No, she refused because she prepared a whole toast feast for the princess. X looks at his so-called loyal highness, feeling speechless as she dances with a monster at the happiness of eating a toast. Too bad that the demon army is too feeble to win against the Imperial army even with a secret like that, which means the torture shall continue. The next night, Tortura stands in front of X and the princess with a pointy thing as they brag about how she isn't hungry enough to be bested out today. However, they both are left speechless at the sight of a takoyaki stand. X is confident that the princess won't give in to a lowly street food that she has never tried. But that's exactly the temptation. The princess becomes emotional and teary-eyed as she thinks about seeing people from her palace window as they eat takoyaki. Tortura does nothing, but simply puts one in the princess's mouth. She has once again reached heaven of the food verse as she sees the batter dance romantically and mingle with the tender octopus inside. Once again, the princess is currently having a feast after revealing the address of the ultimate weapon of the Imperial Army. Poor Tortura seems to be overestimating Her Majesty, who thinks they are too low to handle such a weapon. At this point, it is a question of how they manage to abduct the princess. The next torture is at midnight, which makes them assume it is about sleep deprivation. But they forgot that testing the craving for ramen late at night. Tortura simply starts eating the ramen in front of her in a very mannered fashion. With every bite or slurp, the princess's temptation is amplified. When she finally thinks she can resist the ramen, Tortura brings out rice and prepares a heavenly bite for it. Slammed into the wall by the impact of her temptations, the princess is yet again defeated. Seems like all those historical wars were nothing. The royalties are slaves to tasty food. Once again, poor torturer just ends up giving a feast to the prisoner since the information is still too out of bounds for the weak majesty. The second phase of torture begins with the entrance of two new species, Inkai and Yauki, well known as the Ludorments. The entire hellhorde revolves around torture and torment while they seem to be using the sweetest ways of torturing the princess. These juniors are well known for their torture ways. The torture that is playing video games. No, neither are they playing poorly nor is the game dreadful, they are simply luring the princess to play with them. X calls it a childish temptation, but what makes him think that the princess has the brain of an adult is a mystery. The princess watches the game feeling the longing of never having any friends or company to have such moments with. She is offered to play but refuses, scared about befriending mortal enemies and unaware of how to talk to new people. Tortura gives her a controller telling her 4 people can play too. So, X witnesses the princess having the time of her life with the demons. Before they leave, they call the princess their friend and they exchange contacts and socials. Yes, the captive princess has a phone and access to the internet. Seems like a royal would sell the empire for the bare minimum of daily life. Not to mention she didn't even try to call for help. Let's know that all the information is going to be useless and proceed to the innovative ways of Hellhorde to torture our princess. The next night, Beastmaster Kral returns from her mission where she is seen grinning over a burning building. The two expect to be confronted by a dangerous beast, something that the princess knows well how to handle. It is a surprise that the dumb sacred blade and aloof princess still haven't grasped how the princess is being tortured in emotional ways. A small polar bear cub enters the prison from the small holes of the gate and plays with a ball. Even though the cuteness is making a princess fan over it, but she isn't tempted to reveal secrets yet. Kral steals the ball and makes the cub beg her with cute teary eyes wanting it back. The princess is tormented by the sight and is about to call Kral a ruthless beast, but she notices the tears in Kral's eyes. What is the ruthlessness? Kral gives in and apologizes to the cub. X is relieved that the mission was a failure. How on earth is X so unaware of his stupid highness who gave the information just for her loyalty to the cub? Oh, not to mention the grave task she accomplished before was demolishing a building, not harming anyone. The next torture is an outdoor one. The princess finds herself in a hot spring where a giant lady visits her. The lady's name sits well to her size, not much thought to it, she is simply named Giant. They know it is using kindness to make the princess confess, but X and the princess proudly mention how they have never been pampered in their lives and there is no way the princess is going to give in to kindness. Not something to be proud of, miss. Giant feels pity towards the princess at her words and decides to give her a warm hug because everyone deserves to be pampered. What on earth is happening in this torture series? Feeling a warmth like that of a mother, the princess calmly confesses yet again. In response, she is given spa treatment and massage where Tortura finds a new way to torture the princess. She buys Gorilla's March chocolate for the princess, ready to torture her for it. X once again dares to think he knows the princess well and exclaims how she has had such exquisite food that this local junk won't entice her. But the princess confesses to eating such food with her guard during her school days. However, the princess doesn't feel tempted when Tortura starts eating it in front of her. Bold of them to assume Tortura doesn't know the princess by heart. It seems like she knows the princess more than her mother. The princess starts feeling troubled that Tortura isn't looking at the cute pictures drawn on each biscuit and keeps eating them. It feels like she is beheading the gorillas without revealing their faces. So, by the last chip, the princess confesses and happily looks at the big-browed gorilla before munching on it. Looks like this royal brain was so treasured that they forgot to put it to use. A knight named Louch has finally appeared near the Hellhorn to save the tortured princess, yet kindness has left the job. Inkai and Yauki invite the princess to a trip to the amusement park. The princess worries that she won't be allowed to go, but the two tell her to try and talk to Tortura. The princess decides to keep a positive attitude that Tortura doesn't need to refuse. She seems to be forgetting the concept of prisoners and enemies. Tortura tells her she can go in exchange for another imperial secret. But this time X and the princess both are steadfast and refuse to do so. X tells her that the two also assumed it was part of the plan and didn't invite her out of genuineness. However, a text to the princess about them waiting for her at the entrance makes her emotional. While we still wonder why she is allowed a phone, the princess yet again confesses and goes on a friend's trip with her mortal enemies. It is becoming more of a vacation than an abduction at this point. However, the king preferring sea over land is still not anything of use. This time, the Hell Lord's daughter, Mau Mau, is sent to torture the princess. The little girl is too cute, but the princess doesn't consider it something she'll confess to. Sure thing, princess, we all believe you. Mau Mau starts crying about being useless and not torturing others truly. The princess gets emotional and tells Mau Mau to give her best and not be insecure. Whose side are you even on, miss? Naomo brings out a bubble sheet and starts popping them, hoping that the princess will confess wanting to join in. The torture in this should be watching this being called a torture, but currently, the princess feels tortured because she desperately wants to reveal a secret to Mao Mao. Upon seeing her cry, the princess eventually confesses. However, this secret was actually pretty useful. It was the secret code to the weapons. However, the secret code is some motivational note that the Hell Lord decides to frame and keep a secret since it's his daughter's first accomplishment. This world should be called a brainless land. So once again it was basically useless. The next torture is yet again food. Looks like the royals didn't feed their daughter enough. It is a Chinese food, Zia Longbao. The princess loves Chinese cuisine, but she doesn't like how the filled soup burns her mouth. So, when Tortura shows her a way to make it taste better and not burn her mouth, the princess yet again confesses while drooling. There should be an IQ test for the royalties too. This time the secret is usable, but the Hell Lord is not interested in the flimsy security on Sunday mornings because he watches the anime airing on Sundays.
Ah, I see. You're a man of culture as well.
Seeing the princess's brain, maybe if they casually offer a cuisine to the royals in exchange for the empire, they might agree. Meanwhile, while everyone is asleep, Louch, the knight in shiny armor, reaches the princess by casting a sleeping spell on the castle. The princess is excited to see the Prince Charming who came to save her, but it is a middle-aged man inside the armor. Louch wants to cast the spell to teleport them back to the castle, but in order to do so, he needs the princess close to him. She acts cool, but when the grip gets stronger, the princess ends up slaughtering Louch, extending her stay in the luxurious torture. Yes, she accidentally slaughtered her only way of getting back home. Tortura is held accountable by the Hell Lord because she did not get any beneficial secrets out of the princess. This world is filled with the Lulu people, considering she got a lot of secrets, but the Demon Lord is just slow. Tortura is asked to torture the Hell Lord to see if she is suitable for the post of Grand Inquisitor. What she brings as torture is a can of beer. Hell Lord is impressed because he likes drinks, but he mentions how cheap canned beer is not something he'll be tempted by. Tortura begins showing how to pour the beer to give it an extra zing. She stretches the can as far from the glass as possible while pouring so foam fills up on the top of the glass. The process of watching the foam build up and how tempting it looks seems to be adding the taste to the beer along with its visuals. The castle starts shaking because the Hell Lord is shivering with temptation. He keeps trying to hold it back, but when Tortura mentions how the foam will disperse and the spark will be gone if not drank immediately, the Hell Lord gives in. The drink was so good that it made the Demon Lord purified by the exquisite taste of the beer, and with that, her job is saved. The next night when Tortura visits, X calmly mentions how the princess is going to confess either way. The princess seems to have gotten a hard blow at the lack of faith X has in her and tries to convince him that she will stay stronger, but there's no need. The torture is for X tonight by the weaponsmith Gilga. X reaches heaven as she begins to give him due services, but at his mention of still feeling no obligation, Gilga stops. X gives in eventually with the excuse that his health will help the princess as well. Both the culprits apologize for not being steadfast to the tortures and sleep as if it matters. The next night, Tortura brings Crawl back. After a girly meetup with two mortal enemies, Crawl brings a mad wolf to the prison. When everyone finally thinks there is going to be a fight, Crawl reveals the wolf's paws, mentioning how soft and fluffy they are and how good they smell. For once the princess doesn't feel tempted and the tables turn good enough that Crawl gets teary-eyed and begs the princess to try and lick the paws in exchange for a secret. Not to mention the secret is Tortura having her newborn niece as her wallpaper. The princess tries again and finally starts loving the smell and the feel. Today's accomplishment, introducing the princess to a whole new world. Everyone proceeds to have a paw party afterward. Oh, to be such a prisoner. Mamo takes the princess to a park to record her while playing and is tempted to join in the amusement. The princess finds her cute but isn't tempted and shares with X how the royals were never supposed to play in parks with ordinary people, so she never felt accustomed to it. X is in the middle of feeling proud for his stupid highness when the princess gets emotional about in reality wanting to always play in the parks but missing out on this kind of life. So, the moment Mao invites her, she confesses. The other friends also join in and everyone has a beautiful day out with different games and activities. A vacation or torture? We'll never know. The princess had given the Royal Empire's security password for a few games, which would have been quite concerning if the Hell Lord wasn't more of a dumbhorde. The Hell Lord forgot where he put the paper that had the security password written on because he was too captivated by the video of his little girl having the time of her life in the park. The princess is taken to a river for her next torture, where she confidently assumes it is about playing in the river. She keeps mentioning not giving in, but the way she talks shows how much she wants to play in the river. When Tortura mentions the torture not being about playing in the river, the princess is dejected. More than that, poor X is dejected because of the princess's attitude. Tortura tells her the torture is about roasted marshmallows. The princess isn't fond of marshmallows, but everyone knows she is satisfied easier than a 1-year-old. The moment the brown shade of roast appears on the marshmallow, her patience is broken. Thinking she is going to succeed by eating one and showing resilience, she jumps and swallows one of the marshmallows. The next moment, the princess is bouncing around in Marshmallow Land. Back to reality, X has already settled for another spill, but when Tortura offers another marshmallow for a secret, the princess offers to give 4 secrets for 4 more. Tortura seems to be a professional torturer for only taking 1 secret in exchange for as many marshmallows. After this, the princess is permitted to play in the river, but the debrief with the Hell Lord gets Tortura the tough call of getting another secret out of the princess on the same day. Tortura gets dejected at the thought of 2 tortures in 1 day for the poor girl, thinking her body won't be able to take it. It seems like we're missing some details here. X overhears the conversation and proceeds to narrate to the princess why Tortura looks so sad. Meanwhile, the princess wonders where X's ears are to overhear her conversation. Yeah, that's what's weird in your talking sword, princess. The princess also shudders over the thought of 2 tortures while X observes her, wondering what kind of straining efforts is she being put into. Not to mention the 2 of them worrying about how sweet Tortura is to get sad not wanting to torture the princess twice in a single day. Yeah, because that's not what her entire existence is about. Being an angel to everyone except her state, she casually slips up a secret that the king likes to wear briefs. $1 million info for Tortura, making her task successful. Everyone enjoys their time as Yauki and Kai join them too. The next day, Giant takes the princess to a sauna due to her uneven tan. However, it is only after a while that the princess realizes she is being tortured, as she is made to wear a towel in the sauna. After a while, she starts feeling strong and focused, making her rethink that Giant, whom she calls Mama, might not mean any bad. The princess is then made to enter a cold bath. This is so calming for her body, followed by some rest. We can never know if this was planned by Giant or if she genuinely showed care for the princess, because the princess casually confesses without any questions. The next night, the princess is brought to a school building where she finds one of the monsters whom she defeated once. She assumes she will be made to fight all the monsters she fought once, but her delusional confidence is put to shame by telling her that the one monster happens to be there coincidentally. All those different monsters are going to hide and scare her while she spends the night there. This was torture decided by Yauki, but she caught a cold so couldn't be there. Why? Because she slept with her stomach exposed.
Are you kidding me?
So much for dangerous demons. The princess's care for her dear monster friend sabotaged the only torture that felt close to being something real. The princess confesses before even the torture begins, just so she can visit Yauki. The confession is about a secret passage leading to the palace. God bless this woman with a working brain. Anyways, once again everyone gathers for sweet moments in Yauki's room. So much for tortuous times. Malmo has finally been promoted a rank up in the Hell Lord, which makes the Hell Lord beam with pride and ask for any wish she has. Malmo innocently wishes to have a piggyback and stuff and mentions how she always wanted it but didn't ask for it in terms of how he would appear as a Hell Lord. The father inside Hell Lord takes over as he happily gives a piggyback ride to Malmo around the castle. They cutely talk and wander around, after which the Hell Lord asks what other stuff she wishes for. She makes him have a tea party with her, followed by stuff like a horseback ride and all the things fathers do for daughters. Hell Lord seems to be proud of Malmo since her desires seem to be going on and on just how it should be for the daughter of a king. The two then go out in the park where they play badminton, cycle around, play other games, and finally sit beneath a tree as she blows on dandelions. Cute stuff for some ruthless beastie creatures. In the evening, the Hell Lord is about to be briefed about today's secret, but he calls it a day as he goes to put a sleeping Malmo to bed. He looks at a cute picture she drew of the two with the message for him to work hard, smiles, puts it back, and leaves. Well, the Hell Lord forgot to implement what was written on the paper, since the back of the paper had the passcode that was previously given by the princess, and he didn't bother looking for it even once. I'm starting to think everyone in this series is just dumb. The princess and X are playing some word game in which the princess wins and X praises her. She starts boasting about her high-level education and her advanced vocabulary, but what high level was this to not know what to give away secrets for? But a loyal prisoner she is. Tortura comes in with the next torture and picks up a steaming hot iron rod. It begins to seem like a real deal at this point, and X is about to show confidence in the princess, but stops, seeing her shivering. The princess tries to pretend she is all good at the sight of the next torture, but her words don't match her expressions. Her body is shaking with fear of death in her eyes, making X wonder if she has lost her strength in this long captivity. Tortura explains that the torture is some special cheese that she will melt with this rod. Now that's some normal torture. Instead of sighing, the princess starts wailing in relief as she thinks she might die. She then calms down and prepares herself to resist as if that has ever worked against food and cute stuff. As the cheese starts melting, her eyes start widening and drool starts increasing as per the dumb face Meter X has about her expressions. Well, yes, she confessed again. Moving on, the next day is health checkup day for all the prisoners and the castle mates as per the Hell Lord's commands. Such a hospitable tormentor he is. Gotta visit him sometime. Tortura says that they are going to run a few tests on her, so she wants a blood sample. However, the mighty princess turns out to be scared of needles. At this point, all the stories about her courage seem made up. But she does have a point when she says it is fine when you get a paper cut, but you get extra cautious when someone asks you to purposefully get a paper cut. However, this doesn't make up for the fact she offered to join the Demon Lord army instead of taking the needle. Not to mention, soon as she arrived with the needle, the princess said she'll talk, even though it wasn't even for torture this time. Seeing the princess rolling on the floor childishly, as if this is the only childish thing coming from her, Tortura tries to relieve her that she used to be a nurse, but it isn't enough. She then offers to use anesthesia on the site, but only in exchange for a secret. Even before she can complete the sentence, the princess tells them that they keep the treasures on the east side of the palace. Tortura got out a secret without even trying this time. At this point, they can just greet the princess and she'll write them an entire book about state secrets. The sample is taken quite easily, finally calming the environment from the princess's whining. But why does nobody question a blade being sent into an surgery room? That's one casual way of putting X in danger. The next night, Louch is back with a plan that won't involve touching the princess. He wakes her up and tells her that he is embarrassed that he forgot to let go of the princess last time and has come back with a better plan this time. The palace has once again been put into a sleeping spell, and now Louch will cast a teleportation spell that will teleport the living and the objects in the Mana radius to wherever he wants. The princess is ready to go but halts when he mentions how the objects and living cannot travel together, so her clothes will be teleported before her. Louch mindlessly starts casting the spell while the princess stands there questioning how she can be with no clothes on in front of him. She tries to stop him, but he is too focused, which relieves her that he won't notice her. However, she soon realizes that wherever she is teleported, there are going to be people awaiting her and they will see her stark stripped. As her clothes start dissolving slowly, she panics about the various scenarios and eventually does the same as before. She attacks him yet again, prolonging her luxurious prison stay. The next day, Tortura gives her a change of clothes, wondering how she tore them so badly in sleep. What's concerning is how Mr. Sacred Blade didn't wake up once in those two scenarios, not even when he was used to push Louch away. Talk about the perfect hopeless duo. The princess is surrounded by two cats, Callie and Snowball, at the courtesy of none other than Crawl. The princess is so lost in their cuteness that she is randomly about to share a secret till X stops her. At X's mock of her giving into cuteness, she decides that she isn't going to do so today. Well, she does that every day. Where are the surprises? However, Crawl has come up with an innovation. Snowball likes to sleep in laps, and the princess has been sitting upright since the time Snowball fell asleep, and now her legs are numb. The only way to move is to wake Snowball up, and that is barbaric for the princess for some reason. The princess is ready to show resilience, and she might have endured it if it wasn't for Callie rubbing on her feet. So yeah, she confessed again and then played with the cats. It becomes to the point you realize she rather snitch on her kingdom than to wake up some random cats. Tortura gets to know that the Hell Lord has called it a day earlier because he needs to be there on time for Mau Mau's field day, so she decides to go and cheer for Mau Mau. Oh, and also take the princess along because she is the royal guest. The next day, the princess and X prepare to cheer for Mau Mau while Yaoki and Inkai cheer for Inkai's little brother Insuk. Insuk wins the first race while the Hell Lord fights for his life to try and operate a camera to record his daughter. As he begins cursing humans for his dumb camera, he is told that he only needs to remove the lid of the lens. The next race involves the parents, which alerts the princess and X that the Hell Lord is going to be there too. They anticipate the enemy of the entire humanity, the barbarian, and the ruthless Hell Lord, but the way the race is occurring in front of them, they assume that the mighty Hell Lord won't do such stuff and he must be a body double. What's even more surprising is the audacity the princess has to judge the Hell Lord when she hasn't proved any of her known qualities since the time she came here. All she does is spill state secrets in a series of word vomits, and the Hell Lord keeps ignoring them because he's just as dumb as the princess. All in all, both of them are acting like sore losers in their posts. The Hell Lord is also aware that the princess is here and says he has a face-to-face battle planned with her there. However, at this point, I don't even believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. During the lunch break, Tortura brought everyone good quality food as lunch. The princess is about to eat when she realizes her due torture. Maybe she likes the taste of food after the illusion of being tortured. However, the perfect hellworm does not overwork its workers and its prisoners, so the weekends are off of any torture or tasks. Everyone then munches on the perfectly made food by Chef Tortura. The princess analyzes Mao Mao and her family in the perfect spot and is surprised at how much the Hell Lord's body double is invested. The poor demon might wish to get swallowed by the ground upon hearing that he doesn't look terrorizing enough. In the next race, the subordinate decides to operate the camera for the dumb lord. The Hell Lord is excited because that is when the duel with the princess is going to occur. Just when you think that things are going to get intense for once, the Hell Lord narrates that Mao Mao's chit is going to get someone whom she likes, and when Mao Mao chooses him over the princess, he will win against her. Yes, that's his duel. All those violent battles, injuries, and loss of lives were useless. This is how real battles occur. The princess is also delusional to think that she will be chosen by her, and how it will be interesting to have the enemy princess in the middle of the field by the Hell Lord's daughter. However, Mao Mao grabs a hand completely unexpected to the two of them, something that should have been pretty obvious. Mao Mao dragged her mother ahead, breaking her father's heart that she prefers her mother over him, but he gives himself fake excuses that Mao Mao cared about him being busy with the closing speech. Yes, sure, mister. But let's not ignore the fact that Insuka's driving a whole damn minivan to the ending line, and a kid was asked to handle a holy blade, which is X, and carry it to the end. That's a preschool of Hellhorn for you. The day ends with a speech by the Hell Lord and him distributing bare medals. The princess greets Mao Mao's sweet mother and goes home, still assuming that he wasn't the real Hell Lord. Oh, not to mention she confessed. You may be asking, why?
Why? Why? Why? Why? Why?
We don't know either. Yaoki and Inkai are seen as students for the first and probably the last time as they think about what job they are interested in afterward. Inkai is a little anxious due to her introverted nature, but after a great thought, she decides to become a torturer. Yeah, none of us saw that coming. Yaoki is still confused when Inkai is about to ask her to become a torturer with her, since they have always been a duo. However, being a sweet demon, she stops before saying so, since she wants Yaoki to do what she actually loves and doesn't want her decision to be manipulated. Yaoki gives it some thought and decides that she will become a torturer too, because what she loves is being friends with Inkai, so she is going to be with her ahead too. Great moments of friendship were witnessed right there. The two of them appear in the promotion exams to become Hell Marshals, and what they do is torture is sing a song about not crying when you are shoved and constantly shoving each other's butts. Not gonna lie, witnessing this can indeed count as torture. However, the Hell Lord sweetly fails them, so for help, they don't go to a fellow torturer or torturer like they should have. They decide to go to a prisoner to ask her how they can pass. The princess is also more than willing to help. Why? Because they may be her enemies, but they are also her friends. 10 points for the passion, minus 100 for the logic. The princess encourages them to find out the weak points of their enemies and use them to torture them enemy. The two of them think about what to use against the Hell Lord and come up with a conclusion. Funnily, they are allowed to give promotional exams at any time by requesting the Hell Lord. The Hell Lord stares at them blankly, questioning why the two of them came up with the same torture, assuming this time he will pass them. But the next cue brings Mao Mao to join in their weird shoving and singing. This gets the Hell Lord on the edge of his seat, and the girls tell him he can only join in if he reveals a secret to them. The Hell Lord exclaims how he loves the opening song before the last battle in an anime. He then happily joins in the weird thing they are doing. One hell of a Hell Lord he is. The princess wanders around with Ms. Giant, whom she calls Master Mama because she is that stupid. After a refreshing bath, the two go on a walk for ice cream. Giant tells her how fun walking is, but the Royal Highness doesn't have the leisure of walking freely. The two take a different route and walk to the store while talking about stars and engaging in sweet conversations. Not to mention the princess had already caved in for the two previous tortures. Coming to the next one, Harem Marshal Vanilla Peshuts, the well-known vampire, has volunteered for this one. She believes that torture needs to be something that terrorizes a person, makes them scared, trembling, and fearing for their life. Hence, she takes the princess on a roller coaster ride. However, the princess is excited for the ride, and when Tortura asks Vanilla to tag along to get her to spill the secret mid-ride, we get to know that the torturer is going to become the tortured one. As the ride begins, Vanilla starts spilling her secret while crying for her life. Before the next fall, the princess holds her hand, making it easier for her. Coming down, Vanilla allows the princess to get any secret out of her since she lost. The kind and humble princess decides that she wants to spend the rest of the day enjoying Vanilla. It might be the first time that the princess didn't confess. However, that doesn't remove the fact that instead of getting intel on the demons, she asked about the rides. Tortura is out on a business trip, which gives the princess freedom from the day's torture, making her leisurely enjoy scrolling on her phone. It's still the fact she hasn't thought about calling for help when she has access to the internet. But you know, Tortura gets back to her hotel room and decides to have dinner. She uses all the instant foods but makes them better by cooking them in a different way or by creating some kind of fusion. She really should be on some cooking show. The next day, she enjoys a fresh breakfast in the lounge. What was the business trip? Doesn't matter. The chief battle officer, Bruce, reported that the Hell Lord got a minor injury on his dominant hand. Now this is a shocker for everyone since the Hell Lord has a defensive magic to protect himself. Bruce realizes that for a tiny instant, he felt the Hell Lord's magic, which means he might have gotten into a combat with someone strong enough to injure him before he could cast his defensive magic spell. All of this sounds really far-fetched knowing how the Hell Lord really is. So, let's rewind a day and see what happened. It is Mao Mao's first day of baking with her parents. Yeah, grave battle there. She expresses wanting everything to be perfect and sulks when they have to wait for the butter to melt. Hence, the Hell Lord uses his mana to instantly melt the butter. Poor Bruce thought his majesty was in a battle. Next, the family of 3 enjoys their time baking some cookies of different shapes while the Hell Lord feels proud of his daughter's impatient and confident ways. However, her impatience gets bad when she tries to jump on her mother to get her hands on a hot tray. The lady loses her balance and would have fallen along with the tray if not for the Hell Lord saving both. However, touching the hot tray burned his hand, giving his daughter a good lesson about not being too impatient. This is how the Hell Lord received a minor injury while Bruce still worries about who could have managed to hurt his majesty. Crazy world. Tortura is back for the new torture, but first, she hands the pouch having a gift from something Mao Mao baked. The princess is delighted at that and wants to taste it right away. What is this dynamic? The princess is fond of her mortal enemy's daughter. However, Tortura tells her that she needs to get over her torture session first and then she can enjoy the munchies later. X is also confused at all this, but who cares for the blade with a tiny bit of rationality as compared to others. Tortura brings out the tea explaining how she got to know the princess used to enjoy tea parties when not in battles. The princess confidently laughs that it is indeed true, but she only used to do it as a facade to maintain connections and is fond of cola and lime. She keeps blabbering until it slips that she might want to have tea since it's been so long. Yeah, X, we agree she needs to stop digging her own grave. Tortura is perfectly brewing the tea, but the princess decides to eat Mao Mao's cookies to keep herself from giving in and to show more resistance. Yes, cookies to avoid tea. The genius she has is too concerning. Blabbering yet again about how the cookies are delicious, it slips her mouth that now something warm to drink will perfectly complement it. The princess assumes that the barbarian Tortura had it planned all along, which isn't true. Tortura wasn't aware that the pouch had cookies, so as X said, this self-driving vehicle drove herself to a ditch without any aid. Once again denying that those tea parties weren't by heart, she reminisces the moments and realizes that she loves tea. So yeah, she confessed. The secret she confessed this time was a mysterious treasure buried under the royal cemetery, learning they can get past the kingdom defenses if they take action. However, the demon lord says it isn't nice to defill graves. I'm honestly starting to think the humans may be more of the demons than the actual demons. Moving on from the tea party, Vanilla visits again the next night for the new torture, but the young girl getting excited that the princess remembers her is enough to show how she is a fan of the enemy. The torture she brought upon is a cake. She expects that if the cake alone isn't enough of a temptation, the princess will be begging on her knees once she gets to know that the mighty Vanilla Peshuts made it on her own. However, before revealing this, X starts insulting the sloppy frosting and the weird-looking topping. Vanilla, who clearly wants to impress the princess, dives into deep insecurity, but her eyes widen when the princess starts praising the cake, noticing that the details of messiness show the intent of wanting the person to enjoy this cake. She also noticed that the weird-looking topping was a penguin. Vanilla breaks down at the appraisal of her efforts and asks the princess to enjoy the cake without any confession. She seems to be the only one losing here, but how much the little girl looks up to the funny dumb princess is very clear. Too bad she is going to be reprimanded for failing 2 consecutive torture sessions as a hell marshal. The next torture is at a beach. The princess has to compete against Inkai and Yaoki in a beach sword battle. The rules are simple. Whosoever's balloon on the head pops first loses. If the princess wins, she will be granted whatever she asks for, even her freedom. A long shot by Tortura though, because the princess is confident about it because it is a sword-related thing and for once we can trust her words. Inkai and Yaoki are also confident as they are the undefeated champions of beach sword battles in various tournaments. Seems like they do everything except for what they are supposed to do. Inkai and Yaoki run forward with great tactics that could confuse and fool others, but right when they near the princess, Inkai is brutally defeated already. Inkai is surprised that she really is the commander of her army. Now it may sound offensive to the princess, but she never showed any commanding and resilient traits like that of a battle commander. The princess shares the perfect anecdote where her knight gave her sword training. The training involved circling the sword and then running to touch the tree. Whoever wins gets the knight's desserts. Yep, she thought it was a good story to show how well she had been taught. Yaoki is left alone, but she calls out the rules being popping the balloon and not necessarily using a sword for that. Yeah, not like the game is literally called Beach Sword Battle. Yaoki brings out a water bazooka that shoots 45 water bombs at once. But it doesn't matter. You can't even see the princess's hand moving as she dodges all those. It is nice to see her show some skills for once. Tortura is tortured knowing she misjudged the scenario and needs to do something about it. Her alter egos, the devil, the politician, the writer, the revolutionist, and everyone tell her she needs to do something about the situation even if she sets the rules that the opponents will only be Kai and Yaoki. So, just before Yaoki is about to get defeated, Tortura brings a lot of opponents including Giant, Mad Wolf, Mad Kaiser, Mau Mau, Crawl, and everyone else. The princess gets excited and starts dodging everyone. When Mad Wolf pops Yaoki's balloon, the game turns from being against the princess to being all against all. Everyone starts chasing each other around and trying to pop the balloons, forgetting the torture and the main aim of the game. The princess walks back to her cell at night with her balloon still intact and sleeps after getting tired from a long day of fun, conveniently forgetting she could have gotten her freedom from this game, and she did win too. The same night, Louch is back. This time he is confident that he won't repeat the same mistakes and will save the princess. However, with lightning, the Hell Lord stands behind him, questioning what he is doing here. Louch gets cautious and starts attacking the Hell Lord. He keeps attacking in vain since the Hell Lord stands there perfectly fine, constantly questioning if he is lost, how is a human here, and how he heard Louch when he was coming back from the release of an actor. Louch assumes that the release thing is some code word since no demon would be interested in the release of actors. Bro doesn't know the reality of Hellhorn yet. Cherry on top is that he doesn't know that he is standing in front of the Hell Lord. Louch throws a huge attack, but of course, the Hell Lord is not affected by it. However, the impact caused the edge of the cliff to weaken and break, the edge that Louch was standing on. The Dumbo White Knight is about to die when the Hell Lord saves him. Louch questions the reason, so Hell Lord tells him that his life matters as much. What a considerate devil. Moreover, the Hell Lord noticed the emblem from the Mobile Cavalry Soul Cross anime on Louch's armor. The Hell Lord has the same emblem, and since no one else ever noticed this on Louch's armor before, he gets excited too. The two of them bond over their liking for animes, and Louch tells himself that not all demons are his enemies, and he should keep in mind that only the Hell Lord and his army are the real monsters he needs to fight. Boy, are you mistaken. Louch goes back saying that he will visit some other time. The night goes happily for the Hell Lord since he also made a new friend. Vanilla is playing memory games with cards in her room as she thinks about how good she is at this game and how she doesn't need any friends to play this specific game. It is clear how much she wants friends, and of course, the social butterfly princess is who comes up in her mind at the thought of friendship. The next night, Vanilla reaches the prison cell with the excuse of torturing the princess into being tempted to play cards with her. The princess had played cards a lot during her training, but she wasn't tempted. However, it soon becomes clear that Vanilla wants that and needs a friend. Being a nice girl, the princess shares the secret that she also used to pretend that she didn't need friends, especially after being betrayed by one. However, she soon realized that she also wanted friends. This gets Vanilla emotional as she accepts her need too, and the two then play cards. The Hell Lord gets to know the secret and is glad that the princess got to make friends, of course, because he did too. This time Crawl brings a dog to lure the princess. The princess is confident that Crawl herself made her a cat person, so this is not going to work. It is embarrassing to see the confidence the princess still has in herself after being a constant failure since her abduction. However, when Crawl makes her play fetch with the dog, she starts finding it cute, and it gets harder to resist when she has to see the cute puppy eyes begging for more play and the dog lying and expecting belly rubs. The obnoxious comments about not getting too attached to animals during their expeditions soon turn sad because she actually always wanted to get attached to them. And yet again, the princess confessed to cuteness, something she keeps saying she won't do. This time the princess draws a map to the hidden passageways of the Empire. But yet again, the Hell Lord doesn't do much about it because the undercover agent Dark Ninja Geku wants to quit his family job to pursue his passion for making picture books. The Hell Lord is extremely supportive and lets him go. The princess is dancing with pandas in her cell when she realizes she is in a dream. She can see Tortura and others but is aware of it being a dream. She thinks that she can succumb to all she wants and eat whatever now that she is aware of it being a dream. However, during her sleep, Tortura visits to wake her up for the next torture session, and already finds the princess confessing in mumbles during her sleep. She should have weighed her sleep talking when succumbing to sleep. X is panicked and Tortura is confused, but when the princess praises X and expresses her liking for Tortura in her sleep, they both calm down and move on. Late at night, the princess wakes up and realizes there was no torture session. She confidently snarks that she won this time and went a day without confessing. I think she is the royal highness to the empire of embarrassment. That night, the researchers lost control over a spell resulting in everyone in the Hellhorn becoming a child. When Tortura visits the next day, the princess is confident that she is not losing to a child. Yeah, she never lost to Mau Mau. Tortura was allowed a day off, but she wanted to test how capable she was of torture as a kid. The princess is amazed at her passion and expresses her support by saying she will make sure to give in. Yes, X looks at her as if he lost all faith in her. Realizing she says she won't give in, but of course, when she sees Tortura eating candies and cutely expressing her joy, she gives in right away. Inkai, Yaoki, Giant, and Vanilla all visit her in their cute kid states and play with her. The next night, Tortura has grown a little because the spell slowly wears off. She bought a stew to torture for the day but wanted to call it off because, at a younger age, her cooking wasn't good enough. Being a supportive freak, the princess tries the stew, likes it, and once again confesses. God bless the royal empire after all those spills. Back in the original state, Tortura decides to use pizza as torture. Pizza is the princess's favorite food, but X is right that the woman likes everything. Not like she won't confess if the food isn't her favorite. The princess says that it might be a flavor that she doesn't like. However, Tortura didn't bring the pizza but the menu for her to choose from a place that allows 4 flavors in one pizza. Needless to say, she confessed. Vanilla is in her room thinking about how the princess is her first friend and she wants to do something in which just the two of them are hanging out. Not being able to figure out anything that she can do, she goes on to stalk the princess. Convenient enough, the princess is watching her childhood videos on her phone when her guard Jamachi takes her ice skating after ditching lessons. That guy really seems to be the reason the princess cannot restrain from anything and likes to win things on bets. Well, she mostly wins things by losing to the tortures. Vanilla knows where to take the princess. Her father screams through the palace and reaches his wife asking her to book their ice skating rink for the next day. The wife questions why he would want that as it is not possible to do so on such short notice, but he tells her that it is because of the words of their daughter. He tells his wife with extreme shock and pale face, of course because he is a vampire, that Vanilla wants to hang out with her first ever friend on the rink. Now if you think the father is being dramatic, think again because Vanilla's mother throws her cup away and runs maniacally to get the ice rink booked no matter how much loss they face. Vanilla chooses her best dress and reaches the rink only for the princess to assume it is a part of the torture sessions. Vanilla wants to deny it but doesn't dare to do so. She dejectedly enters the rink to tempt the princess to follow her too. However, the desperation to hang out with the princess made her forget that she didn't know how to skate. She loses her balance and regrets not being able to tell the princess that she wanted a simple hangout, and braces herself for the cold hard impact of the ice. However, the princess hurriedly gets on the rink and swiftly saves her. Talk about a heroic save. This also means that the princess has lost the bet. Vanilla starts crying but still chokes before saying that this wasn't a part of the torture. The princess for once figures something out, and just to make her feel better by telling a secret about Imperials being good at ice skating. The princess, X, and Vanilla spend the rest of the day enjoying ice skating. The next night, Tortura notices that the princess and X are not well and cancels the torture. They give her good food, as if it wasn't happening before, a futon, a TV, some meds, and a lot of rest. In fact, the Hell Lord allows her to keep the futon even after recovering. The next day, the princess and X are perfectly fine, but Tortura seems sad. There are going to be personnel transfers in Hellhorde and she doesn't know if she is going to be transferred. Upon knowing that this could be potentially the last torture session, the princess gets emotional but then tells her to bring it on since she won't give in today. Tortura brings everyone else too since they could be transferring too. Unfortunately, we never got to see what the grand torture session held. Fast forward to the next day, none of them got transferred and things are supposed to remain the same. Oh yeah, she did confess though. Now, out of nowhere in the middle of the series, the Princess, X, and the Hell Lord got reincarnated to a parallel world by a strike of lightning during a basketball match. The Hell Lord, being an anime fan, knew he needed to defeat the bad guys to go back, so when he woke up 2 hours before the princess, first was the horsemen demon minions that he slayed easily. Next was some annoying lion speaking how the demon lord's minion was only level 15, while he is level 100, but of course he got Chris breezied before he even made any moves. As he ventured forth, he came across the almighty Dark Agents that was level 5000 and defeated them. And as he reached the Demon Lord, which was level 980,000. What even are these unbalanced levels? he casually removed the calamity from that world in 2 hours, clearing their goal to go back to their own world. Saying that after seeing their evil ways, he couldn't let such bad people exist anymore, as if he isn't a whole demon lord himself. And yeah, the princess and X still think he is some strong body double and not the actual Hell Lord. Poor guy. As they return, they decide to continue their game of basketball where they left off, and of course, the princess confessed. Why did she confess, you may ask? At this point, we don't even know.